Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today because we have a warning signal flashing for Bitcoin in the immediate short term here on the 1 hour time frame. Because what you can see right here is a bearish divergence, which is whenever you have lower highs in the RSI momentum indicator and higher highs in the Bitcoin price. And basically what it signifies is that the bullish momentum is slowing down in the short term. And usually what you'll see with a bearish divergence is that there is limited room to the upside, and likely we will see some choppy sideways price action and potentially even some bearish price action in the short term here. So with this warning signal flashing, what are the key price levels that you need to keep an eye on in order to know what is going to happen in the immediate short term here? Well, first of all, if we just take a look at this price action here, you can see that Bitcoin is currently just chopping around sideways around this 67K level. And this is because Bitcoin is trying to clear above this previous high. Though in the case that we do get more of that bearish divergence play out by getting some bearish momentum, then likely the price will fall into this big level of support, which is sitting from 66,000 all the way down to 65,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And in the case that you do see the price trade below this 65K level, well, in that case, the price will likely go much lower. Maybe we might get some short-term support here at 63.3K. However, more likely, if we do get a sharp decline, is that we actually fall into this next big level of support, which is sitting from 62.4K all the way down to 60,000 US dollars. But that is about it for the bearish scenarios, in my opinion, because in the case that we do just trade to the upside from here, so we clear this previous high, that is at 67K, like I said, well, in that case, very likely we will go up to the next big level of resistance, which is sitting at 68.5K, all the way up to 70,000 US dollars. And in the case that we break through that level of resistance, then the next big level of resistance above that is from 71 all the way up to 73,000 for the Bitcoin price. Although there is one other chart that you must keep in mind here. So let me get to that right now. And that chart is actually this descending channel right here where Bitcoin has been consolidating ever since we reached the top at 73K, where recently we went to the very low, even a little bit below this level of support, which was a scary moment. And then we got a bounce from there. So we started trading to the upside. And you can see that the top of the channel here is exactly at 71K. Although the longer it takes for the price to go to that level, the lower that level of resistance will be. So for example, if we wait another week or so, this level of resistance is going to be at 70.8K. So that is something to keep in mind, that the longer we wait and trade around these levels, the lower the level of resistance here is actually going to be because of that descending trend line on the other chart. But of course, you don't have to memorize this because I make a YouTube video about these charts every single day. So if you do want to stay up to date with the crypto markets, then make sure to subscribe to my channel with notifications on so you get notified whenever I post a new video. And if you are new here, I highly recommend you join my Discord server. It's completely free to join, and it's a great place to learn from others or simply share your analysis, get some feedback on it, and just be active in the crypto space. So I highly recommend you join it. You can join my group for free with the first link in the description of this video. So go check that out. Now, even though I was talking about this bearish divergence a little bit earlier in the video, I do want to note that something that can completely change that equation is actually the Bitcoin ETF inflows. Because what we saw last week was actually kind of insane. We saw close to $1 billion worth of Bitcoin being bought in 5 days by these Bitcoin ETFs. Now, currently, they aren't trading because Bitcoin ETFs don't trade on weekends. However, tomorrow they will start trading again. And if we see another week of massive inflows, yes, definitely the Bitcoin price is going to pump. That's not financial advice. Let me just say that. But the Bitcoin ETFs have a massive impact on the price action. So if we see another huge inflow on Monday, well, then yes, of course, it can change the equation of this bearish divergence that I was talking about earlier in the video. Okay, so right now, as I'm recording this on the 1 hour time frame, I'm seeing a pretty sharp decline actually here, which is interesting to see because I was just talking about this bearish divergence. Either way, one thing I wanted to note is that currently we are trading inside a weekend, which means that there is a CME gap. And what that means is that when the market closes on Friday, it is at a certain price. In this case, it was roughly 67.3K. Now, what happens is most CME gaps get filled in the next week. So either way, it doesn't matter how deep this pullback is, even if it goes to 66K here or whatever, most CME gaps, like I believe it's something like 90%, get filled in the next week. So that means that the price will trade somewhat close to this level once again. So it could be 67.2K or whatever, but the price will recover usually to this price. And it is a rare exception that the price doesn't do that. So that is just something to keep in mind. Now, one other thing I wanted to note here is that I called something out earlier today. It was actually this ascending triangle pattern for Bitcoin on the 30-minute time frame, which ended up breaking out to the upside. And I got a nice 116% gain from that using 135x leverage on MEXC. So if you do want to trade with leverage and very low fees, I highly recommend you go to the description of today's video. And once you are in the description, you can click this link right here. If you register and deposit at least $100, you can get a nice USDT bonus. It's up to $1,000 that you can get depending on how much you deposit and how much you're trading. But like I said, you can get up to 200x leverage. But of course, if you're doing that and using high leverage like me, then make sure you always manage your risks by setting stop losses. Now moving on to Ethereum on the daily time frame, where recently we got rejected from the 0.786 Fibonacci level, after which we traded all the way to the 0.5 Fibonacci level at 2860, roughly speaking. And right now in the short term here, for example, on this daily time frame, we can see that we broke out to the upside of this falling wedge pattern. And I have been calling this pattern out for quite a while, actually, saying that at some point it is going to break out to the upside, which it has done now. And what we can see on the daily time frame is actually that potentially we're getting a breakout, retest, and then potentially a resumption, which would be very bullish for the Ethereum price. Although it is actually critical that right now Ethereum holds this level of support, which as of the time of recording is sitting at about $3,045. So zooming in to the 4-hour time frame for ETH here, what we can see is that we actually got rejected from this level of resistance, which is sitting from 3150 all the way up to 3250. So right now it's trading to the downside. If the Bitcoin dump doesn't continue for much longer, then likely Ethereum might find some short-term support at $3,050. But if the Bitcoin dump goes further than that, well, then likely Ethereum will trade lower as well, falling into this huge level of support, which is sitting from 3,000 all the way down to 2850. And the reason I say this is a huge level of support is because this also corresponds to the 0.5 Fibonacci level, which is sitting at 2864. So it is actually critical that if Ethereum does go this low, which would be a pretty sharp pullback in the short term here, but if it does go that low, then it is actually critical to get a bounce there, because in the case that it does trade below that level of support, then the next Fibonacci level below is all the way at 2390. Although, of course, there are support levels in between. For now, I'm just going to leave it at this because first of all, we have support here, and then massive support here. So we don't need to worry about those levels below just yet. Moving on to Solana here, we recently also got rejected from the 0.786 Fibonacci level, after which we traded all the way below the 0.5 Fibonacci level, getting wicks as low as $115. And recently, we actually reversed and got some very nice bullish momentum, breaking through that 0.618 Fibonacci level, which was, in my opinion, pretty surprising to see us just cut right through that. Either way, what we can see right now is that we're getting a bit of a pullback here. And personally, what I am hoping for is that we actually retest this 0.618 Fibonacci level at $163, testing it successfully and then getting it pushed to the upside, because then it would confirm this as a huge level of support, which would be very, very good to see for Solana in the short term. Although if we take a look at the support and resistance levels in the immediate short term here, so on the 4-hour time frame, what we can see is that right now Solana is in a big level of support, which is sitting from 171 all the way down to $166 for the price of Solana. But if it does trade below that 166 level, then we might get some support here at this 163 level, because this is actually the Fibonacci level that I was talking about earlier, the 0.618. So it would be really good to see a bounce from there. Either way, in the case that we don't hold that level, well, then in that case, we might get some short-term support at this $160 level and get a bounce from there. I think for now, those are the only important levels that you need to be taking a look at in the short term here, because it would be really crazy to see Solana just get blasted all the way to the downside back to this $150 level of support. So that is just my 2 cents on that. But that is about it for the bearish scenarios, because in the case that we do just trade to the upside from here, well, in that case, the next big level of resistance is sitting at 176, all the way up to $181 for the price of Solana. So that would be another nice push to the upside if we end up getting that. This has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.